When I start a project, it can be difficult to get all your ideas down at once, so you just gotta like dive into your sketchbook and just start getting down all your ideas before you forget them, and just express, just like don't hold back, just get everything out on paper. My biggest tip is to keep everything that you do, even bad drawings that you did like 2 years ago. It's really good to be able to look back on what you were and the kind of artist that you were. It adds perspective and you're able to see how much you've grown through these years. I look back at old sketchbooks and like that I did freshman year, and I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible. But it adds perspective, and basically the biggest way, besides just technical skills and just getting better, is I've gotten better at communicating through art. Like I'm better at expressing myself and getting my ideas and communicating through my art.
I've definitely grown a lot as an artist. I feel that when I entered into high school that my work was very mainstream, sort of, and it was conceptual, but the work didn't really show the concept as much. It had lots of symbolism in it, and I think now I have learned to really give the viewer hints and clues about what it is I'm talking about or what's in my mind. And I feel like I've grown more in skill in terms of that. Yeah. For those who are entering into high school, I think it's really important that you try as hard as you can, even if you see other people who are really, really talented and more talented than you. As long as you put in that extra hour every single day, you can probably exceed in your skill past those talented people. I mean,
I feel like I've learned a lot from when I came in as a freshman. I'm really, like looking back at what I had, it's definitely better. I feel like I could be better than what I have now if I like practiced more or studied more or like didn't have a fluctuating motivation, which I kind of have now. I think it's really important so you know what you're doing, because if you don't really have a solid base before you start something, it can go all kinds of different ways, and it could be not really a good way. So it's important to plan so that you know what direction you're going.
Ninth grade, I was definitely very reserved and in my comfort zone as far as what I did with my art. I didn't want to try new things, and I was kind of fine where I was. But as I've gone through high school, I've really learned to branch out and experiment with different things, and kind of develop my skills in a lot of different areas and combine those back together to create things that were more unique and more my own. When I plan a project, I definitely like to do some research first and kind of get an idea of what I'm making my project about, and then do some thumbnail sketches and get different compositions, maybe ask other people what their advice might be, and then I just kind of start. I don't like to plan too much into it because you kind of get in your own head a little bit too much, but just a little bit of background research and sketching, and then I jump right in.
Cool.
I would definitely advise an incoming ninth grader to not be afraid to experiment and try new things. And just because something's new doesn't mean you're going to be terrible at it, and you might end up finding your calling in life. So just don't be afraid to try something different.
Over the past 3 years, I feel like I've developed a lot as a musician. I've had great mentors and teachers that have helped me along the way. They've taught me how to listen across an orchestra, how crucial a conductor is for the whole group, and I feel like that's really helped me a lot in broadening my perspective. And I did have a time when I was put out of playing because I had fractured my arm. But as I recovered, I was eased back into the process, and everybody was really supportive of me, and it just really made it a good process. When I first started high school, I was really nervous that it was going to be like really hard, and I was going to have like a hard time fitting in with the group. But it's been a really good process. I've got a lot of help, and I am now able to play 2 levels of music higher than I was when I first came here. So if you're ever worried about that, don't worry, because everybody's there to help you out. I consider music a really big part of my life, and when I'm playing, it's like an extension of myself. I feel like I can express my emotions through it. It helps me to relax. If I'm feeling angry, I can put that in there. It's a great way for you to relieve stress, and it's a great feeling playing in a group and hearing all the sounds that combine to make this great product.
Well, I try to think positively, and so coming into high school, I knew that I would have band class, and I've always had band class even in middle school, so I immediately knew I would have at least one connection with the people around me, and so I just was really excited about that. But as far as everything else, I just kind of, I'm stuck, but I kind of just had to feel my way through, and then music really helped me with that because, like I said, I automatically had that connection with other people, and so I was able to talk to those people that were in band and in my classes if I had any questions or concerns about anything else. Okay, when I was a freshman coming into school, yes, I was nervous. Yes, I was just, pressure was falling down on me, but I overcame it by, like I said, turning to music. And the biggest challenge for me was the pressure around me, because I was like peer pressured into doing a lot of things, like not bad things or anything, but just like trying to join groups, and it was all coming at me at one time. And so I just immediately went to music. Like, that's the only thing that really 100% stayed with me throughout my journey through high school and middle school. So I just always go back to music. I feel great. I feel united with the people around me. I just feel like I'm a part of something that is bigger than anything else. Like, you can go I could go to China right now, and no, I do not speak Chinese, but I could go to China right now and I can sit next to someone who doesn't even speak my language, but a piece of music is in front of us and we can both play it together. So I would say to definitely just develop very strong time management skills. Those can be developed just by taking it slowly at first, and then slowly like picking up, and then joining more clubs and joining more things. Like my freshman year, I only was involved in like 2 clubs, and now I'm in like 5 or 6. So because then you get to actually, I'm messing up, but you get to, you learn who you are through music, and you learn who you are through what you involve yourself in. So when you're a freshman, you might not exactly know what you want to do when you get to high school, but it eventually will come to you, and you'll begin to find yourself in clubs that you wouldn't have ever seen yourself in as a freshman. To an incoming freshman into high school, I would say, come in, enjoy yourself, come in with open eyes. Do not ever let anyone tell you to do anything that you don't want to do. And if you find yourself not wanting to do something, ask yourself why. And if you can't think of a reason that's good enough, then why not is the question that you need to ask yourself. So, yeah.
All right. And any favorite pieces of music that you'll always remember fondly of your time here?
The last song that we played, The Force of Destiny Overture, Mr. Garcia, we worked so hard on that piece, and I think that that's why it means so much to me. So yeah.
Well, honestly, I was quite nervous coming into high school. It was a whole new thing. It's not exactly the same as middle school. It's a new thing, but it's great. And when I first came into the academy, it was a whole new experience. Before, we had been playing in just orchestras and kind of focused in on one style of music, just this classical, just play it. The academy, what it really does is it diversifies you. It introduces you to more than just playing the notes on a page. It teaches you the history behind it. It introduces you to modern music and the history and the culture of music, as well as just history and culture of the arts. And it it was a great experience. And really, my main setbacks were that, and I speak for more than just myself, that we as artists think we're our own worst critics. We think that whatever we do isn't really as great as it actually was. And that's what the Academy helped with, is it kind of brings down your nerves and gets you kind of set on what the real world is like. And you realize you are great. You're doing well, the music's great, and really you're playing as best as you can. That's what the Academy does for you, is it teaches you to be who you are and to see who you are. My biggest setback besides that was just not nailing one audition, but that didn't bother me. The teachers here, they help keep you up, they inspire you. It's a wonderful feeling. Well, my junior year, I auditioned for all states. And what happens is you have lower orchestras, which are district band and senior regional orchestra, that if you get first or second chair in either of those orchestras, you get a spot to audition at All-State. Well, I had made principal chair for district band. However, when I came to all states, I just realized the level of talent that was really out here in our state. And I did not make the audition, or I didn't make the position, rather, and that set me back because I thought I had practiced, I had nailed down the piece, I had worked on my scales. So when I got the call from our coordinator saying, "I'm sorry you didn't get the position," I thought, why didn't I? But then I realized it's okay, because I tried my best, and that's what the Academy prepped you for, is to understand that you tried your best and that you've worked your hardest, and that's okay if something doesn't happen, because there will be other opportunities. I would say be where you are. I would say don't think more about yourself than you really are. However, don't think less. Stay with what you're comfortable with, and yet reach beyond that. Become more comfortable. Don't just try and then when you fail, give up and go back to what you're used to. Get solid on one level, take the next step, become solid on there, and then take the next step. Don't just go on, fail, and then go back to where you were.
How do you feel when you're playing music?
When I'm playing music, whether it's with a band or an orchestra or by myself, playing music is the greatest feeling in the world to me. It's an overwhelming joy. There's no greater feeling.
If I could just start from the beginning, when I first became a musician back in like 6th grade, I believe, there was just so much going on that I wasn't so focused on music and my arts. But as I grew and came here, I got more opportunities as an art student. I got to branch out more. I even not just am I a music student, I do art too, so that's always fun to do. Branching out just makes me meet new people, and I get those people so I have those friendships forever, and they teach me stuff as I teach them stuff. And I never believed that music was my strong suit until coming here, because it was just, there's so much you can do, and so much they teach you that, I fall in love with this place. And as a music student, I believe I'm a lot better in knowing of stuff rather than just playing my instrument every day and then going home. I come here instead and know what I'm doing, know the details of doing music, and take that back and practice the next day and keep getting better and better. So that's why I believe as an art and music student, I've developed quite well.
The biggest thing that helped me with growth is the support to your family and friends and your teachers especially, because it'll help you grow and it'll help you do better as a dancer, and if you practice at home it'll always help you. Some setbacks I've encountered is probably just trying to juggle school or having to worry about other students judging you and just the pace of your growth, because if you get frustrated enough and then you just don't work hard, it's just going to blow over and you're never going to get to where you want to go. Another thing with the whole school is like it's hard to juggle it because you have your BPAA life and your academy life, and it's just hard to kind of juggle those things between. But if you just keep working on it, you'll always try to succeed. And as a dancer, just to perform and just to give your all into dancing, it's just amazing. It's so liberating, especially performing and entertaining everybody else. And it's just like the best feeling in the world. Like, I love dancing. And it goes hand in hand with theater because it's performing as well, and it's great to show an audience like that little magical world that you made set for them and your scenes and what you're practicing, and it's good to reveal the character that you're showing. I just love doing both because it's just great to entertain people while doing something you love.
Well, I had kind of had this impression that going into it, it was going to be really easy for me because I remember back when I was at my old studio and I was in company, I could just, I'd dance all the time, and I thought I could still do that, and I'd quit for 2 years. So coming in, it was like having to start all over, and it was like a shock to me. And I didn't put as much effort into it as need be because I thought it was going to be effortless. And it was a setback, it really did, and it did harm me in the long run. So, well, I'm kind of an introvert, and I feel like asking for help just makes me seem weaker. So I've always kind of just had to push myself. So when I came in and I realized, wow, I have a lot of catching up to do, I just had to keep pushing myself to stay, on an even playing field with everybody else.
Okay, so
Well, ninth grade, I was new here, so all I really had was dance. But then as 10th grade creeped in, I started to get to know people, and my social life kind of took over, so dance kind of took the wayside. So that was my year of regression, and that year I was just trying to maintain what I could to stay in the program, and that was probably my rock bottom as far as my 4 years in high school goes. And you gotta stick with it, because if you're coming into the program, then obviously you love it, and you just have to remember that. And sometimes it's hard because you don't always want to dance, because dance is very rigorous and it's very stressful on the body. So it's hard to push yourself sometimes, especially when you're not in a good mood or you don't feel good. And we all have bad days, but you just have to work through it. And that's how you grow as a dancer. And once you feel comfortable with yourself as a dancer, you can learn to become more comfortable with yourself as an artist, and they go hand in hand. So you just have to push yourself even when you think that you just can't push anymore, because you can, and it's mind over matter. And that's the biggest lesson I had to teach myself. It feels like second nature to me. I'm a very kinesthetic person. Moving is how I communicate. A lot of times when I have to use words, I feel like I don't say what I have to say as well. I kind of jumble my words, as I'm doing now, actually. But it's easier for me to communicate through movement than speaking, and it also allows me to connect with music, which is very important to me because music's my favorite.
And so what advice would the Ashley of now give the Ashley of 9th grade?
You just need to chill out a little bit. Take it seriously, because you'd be a lot further now than you are if you would have done it then.